Hi there, it's Kim, and it's a very hot end of summer day, isn't it, Manny? Too hot for an afternoon walk. So I'm going to show you how to make a herb vinegar today. We're going to do some elderberry herbal vinegar and a few other little ideas as we go along that to give you confidence to do these things in your home. And maybe, Melly, you're going to go and have a rest in the cabin, or are you going to come and help me? All right, let's go and look at the elderberries because they've been ready to pick in various ripeness stages over the last 3 to 4 weeks or so, and they're just coming to the end in my garden. So quite a long harvesting season if you keep your eyes out for what's going on. So let's come along and go and find some elderberries to look at. This may look a bit ungainly, but this is an elderberry that has seeded itself in my front garden. So I just come through the gate and have a look at what's going on. So if we just can get a close-up in the right light, here's a panicle of berries which you can see are all drooping, and they're really ripe, so I can pull those off into colander shortly. And all of these ones down here are really ripe, a bit hard to see maybe. And the interesting thing about this tree is the cats like scratching it, but it's still thriving. As I say, it just seeded itself and it's been over the last few years. Now here's a really good one to see. Now on this panicle you can hopefully see there's some green ones, which you don't want those at all in anything you're making. The shriveled ones have gone over, and so it's these really white ones. So the best thing to do is just take the whole thing and then shred the berries off. So as I just pan up here, you'll just see, you know, quite a lush tree, and I've already taken some off here, so this is an empty one. So I'm just going to go and get the colander and pick those. Right, I've gathered up the elderberry off the tree and I've got my jars prepared. So that's the first thing to say, that all the jars must be really clean that you're ever going to make any herbal medicine, creams, ointments for. So I'm a great fan. Wash it in hot soapy water and then scalding water over whatever utensils or jars you're using. So I've done some glass jars here, includes the lids as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip off the berries straight into this colander first of all, so then if there's any bits that don't look so good I can clear those out. And then when that's all done, I'll put the clean ones, as it were, that I want into the jar, and I'm just simply going to top it up with some cider vinegar and put the lid on, label it, date it, and then just put it in a dark cupboard, and you just let it sit there for 2 to 3 weeks. And some people say shake it, some people say don't. I mean, it's just a good idea to look at what's going on to make sure that there's no the lid's still on properly, that there's no gases, fermentation going on, because you don't want that. And then once that process has finished, you strain it all out and then put the clear liquid back into another clean vessel. And as it's cider vinegar, you can either put it into a jar or a bottle with a cork in it, and you can then go on to use that product medicinally or in salad dressings, give it as Christmas gifts maybe. Very nutritious to use cider vinegars. You can put them in, as I say, salad dressings, so you don't just have to have them on their own. Other people like having a spoonful of that in some hot water. The advocates of cider vinegar cures, you can absolutely put different herbs into them. So you can add in, you can make cider vinegars, say, with sage or melissa or rosemary, anything like that you've got growing in your garden, those sort of nice robust aromatic herbs with lots of volatile oils. So let's get on with the processing. Herbal processing always takes time, and I like to think of it as a time of reflection. And in days gone by, invariably wouldn't have just been one woman sitting by herself. It would have been various family members or village members sitting together doing this process and talking, just talking about what they're doing, talking about their what's going on in their families, problem solving, all sorts of human conundrums and issues, and maybe talking about what their dreams for the coming season is, etc. So I think it was a really beautiful social time, and a way also of handing on knowledge to the younger generations, not just of the thing you're doing, but how to navigate all the ups and downs and conundrums that come along in life, how to orientate ourselves and to understand where we sit within the hierarchy of needs and in the hierarchy of perceived wisdom and knowledge, and not feeling that we've got to be anxiously doing it all as ourselves, as this sort of self-realised individual just out pleasure seeking for ourselves, but we're doing things communally in the making and communally for the benefits, of others, for providing, basically medicines that are going to help other people at some point in the future. So it's a gifting forward. So I'm going to get on with the plant stripping. Right, as you can see, I'm getting through them, and because it's near the end of the season, I just wanted to say that usually at the beginning this would be covered in berries, so because they're getting a bit sparse now because they've really ripened. And what I'm doing is I'm just pulling off the right ones, and actually, you can make it with dried berries, and I'm just checking the ones that are starting to shrivel. As long as there's no mould on them, I'm letting those go in. So I've nearly finished, and what I'll do is once I've stripped a few more panicles, what I'll do is just hold this up in this colander. Hopefully you can see you've got the berries, but also you've got bits of stalk, and I don't really want the stalks going in because they're a bit bitter. So I know it's fiddly, but it's always worth doing properly. Just try to get as many of those out as you can. If it's near the beginning of the season and you've got lots of berries, in the past what I've done is just got a fork and stripped them off quite quickly. That's quite a good way of doing it. So berry combs are quite good, or just a fork will do the job. But these are pretty ripe and it's not bad. You just end up with nice dyed hands. Of course, elderberry is used as a natural dye, and elderberry wine making, of course, some of you might be familiar with. You can make jam with it. Again, a little time-consuming process, just getting all the berries, enough berries to make the jam or the jelly, and cordials you can make with it. So you gather all the berries and you're going to make a syrup with those, basically into a syrup, and let that cool down. Or you can make elderberry syrup. You can make elderberry robs, and that means you have added in other herbs like cinnamon or ginger, and makes a really lovely winter remedy. Lots of people use it, as I do, prophylactically to prevent winter infections. So it's good at warding off viral infections. Once we get a virus in, that's our immune systems get depleted, and then the bacterial infections can grow on top of that. So anything that keeps our immunity up over the winter months is very beneficial. So we're going to be doing that obviously through good food, through taking things like the herbs, and I'm a great advocate of things like vitamin D as well in the winter months in our northern climes, and especially for the fair people. This is really dried. I don't know. It's not really worth having those ones. I can see a little bit of mould growing on some of those. So some of them are sparse pickings, but hey. The thing with this tree is that I've got some sparrow nest boxes nearby, and the pigeons come into it as well. At the top, I always like to leave the top berries, for the birds to get. Oh, there's the one with the with the green. So we definitely don't want those. So I'm just going to take those out. That will give you tummy ache. And actually, if you eat these berries raw, it will give you tummy ache and the old loose bowels. So that gives you a sign that the body doesn't like digesting them. And the same with most seeds. Nature wants to protect its seed crops because it's the next generation of plants. So it has a lot of phytic acid around the seed to really make it hard for animals to digest, and that includes us. That's why it's good to process things and ferment things, so it's easier for the body to break down. We only have one stomach, unlike the ruminants who have three 3 or 4 stomachs, some of them, to break things down better, this hard plant material, and then we benefit from their digestion processes. But for ourselves, we have to do a bit of it outside of the body, which is basically what we're doing with this process. Right, I've stripped as many of the good ones as I can do. The rest of them are too dried out or got, they're going brittle and mouldy. So I've brought me trusty jam funnel out, a great bit of equipment. Just then pop those in to the jar. Not very rich picking because I've left it a bit late in the season. So see that, done the label, covered in elderberry stains. Make sure you don't wear things that you don't mind, I haven't got any elderberry juice on me, but it can happen, a danger, one of the hazards. So here's some apple cider vinegar, and I'm just going to put enough in to cover. And they'll float a bit, so that's good. So that's probably rather a generous amount of vinegar, but do you know what I might add? This is where you can experiment. It's a bit like being creative in the kitchen. You can think about other flavours that can go with your elderberry. So culinary, we could think of cinnamon, that would be a nice warming spice to put in with your vinegar. Or I might actually go and get some other herbs. Quite tempted to try something like rosemary and sage in with it. It's a bit of a wacky mix, but I might chop some of that and put that in after I finish this film. So as I say, that's going to be sealed up and left to all the goodness from those berries to infuse into the tincture, the vinegar. The thing with vinegars, they don't last as long as tinctures, i.e. alcohol, so you do have to use them up within the year, but really that's not very hard to do, because they do make, as I say, very nice tasty additions to salad dressings, or you can have them as a warm drink to ward off the winter ills. And I was just thinking, as I was doing all of that, all the traditional uses of the elder tree, a really fascinating tree throughout history, lots of folklore associated with it. Then even down to the wood. The wood was used for butchers' skewers. It got called the Judas tree. I think that's because of the smell, and it snaps easily. There's no way you could hang someone off an elder tree. They break quite easily. But and that you must never chop down an elder without asking permission. So know that one. And the Gypsy Romany tribe used to have caveats about not burning it, and actually it's got arsenic in it. So even though you can use it as little flutes and pipes, just be careful if young children are getting the fresh wood against their lips. So anyway, that's a really quick introduction, I hope. Well, an introduction as to how simple it is to make a herbal vinegar. So you can do it with practically any herbal material. So thanks for listening. Hope to see you again soon, and take care.